So right now I'm going to show you a sample lesson. So me working with someone in person. Normally I work with someone for about an hour. Right now I'm going to show you maybe 5 minutes of a lesson, but I want you to get the idea of what it is that we're going after. If I were with you and had my hands on you and I was able to say, here is what your pattern is. Now we're going to lift you up and lengthen you, and here's where your head and neck will be. I just want you to see what that would look like in person. So that will help you as we go forward, because in the next chapter, it will be all about how you can do this for yourself. So right now, we're just going to learn a little bit from me working with somebody else. Steph, tell me, do you have any back pain, neck pain, any kind of chronic pain that you want to share?
My upper back. I tend to have a lot of knots up here.
Okay.
Up into there, yeah.
Okay. And do you have any concerns about your posture or anything that you would like to be different, better?
I default to the expert. You let me know.
Okay, so we'll take a look. So you've upper back, neck tension, tightness.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so come and stand. We're going to stand this way, and we're going to take a look at Steph's spine. I'm going to get out of the way so we can really see it. Okay. So we've talked about some postural patterns, and what I see here is actually one of the common patterns that I talked about. So tell me if you notice any of this after I say it to you, because I'm curious if you notice this. But what I see here is there is a exaggerated curve here in the lower back. So put your arms to the side for a moment. Yeah. So what happens is you have a little bit of that exaggerated curve, which pushes the belly forward a little bit, because it's really pushing the lower back forward. It pushes the belly forward. And then you have a little bit of rounding here. And it's not too bad, but there's definitely a bit of that pattern of that rounding here, which then takes the head and neck down and forward just a tiny bit. Okay, so just want to kind of point that out and see if we can see that common pattern here. So what I want to do, so we've been talking about the spine and how we work on the head and neck back relationship first. So I just want to come in here and give you a little bit of a length and see if you can feel how that just shifts your body up a little bit. Okay, so take a few breaths, drop your arms down. Yes. Okay, so what I just did was I gave her a little bit of length up through the rib cage, but I started at the head and the neck because, as we've talked about, we have to get the head, neck, and the top of the spine lengthening up first, and then that brings everything else up. So what does that feel like to you?
I mean, I feel it pulling my stomach in a little bit and bringing things up.
Yeah. Okay, so do you think you can go back to the regular pattern? Sure. Okay. Yeah, go back.
I've been doing it for 36 years.
Yeah. Okay, so now, again, you have that exaggerated mid lower back here, pushes the belly forward a little bit here. So when I take her here and I give her that lift, it starts to lengthen up through the head, the neck, and it brings all of this up. So when we do something like that, and I will teach you how to do this at home. So I'm showing you this lesson here so you have an idea of what we're going for, and then I'm going to give you all the tools to do this at home. So when I do something like that with Steph, and when you do it at home, you give yourself that length that I'll teach you. It will feel awkward at first. It will feel, I don't know, why do you use your words? Does it feel strange, a little weird there, or comfortable?
It's comfortable, but yeah, it's different.
It's different. So it's different. So it might feel a lot better because you're getting more length in your spine. Maybe you can breathe better. Maybe you don't feel your rounded upper back anymore. Maybe the neck feels better, but it will always feel a little bit strange, different, because it is very different. So if Steph has been doing this for 15 years, this is not going to be natural for her to just sustain. Later in the course, we're absolutely going to talk about how you practice, how you keep this going. So don't worry if you're questioning that right now. We're absolutely going to get to how do you keep this? How do you do it on your own? We'll get there. So just take a few breaths, right? Just kind of feel that in your body. Feel that length up through here. Okay, so now I want you to sit down. So there's a stool right behind you. You can face this way.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so how do you think you normally sit at work or?
Usually I would have a back, so I sort of sit like
Got it. Okay, actually, stand up for 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm going to move the stool back just so we can see. Okay, so now come and do that again. Okay. All right, so I can feel like you want to take that down a little bit, and we're going to talk about, okay, but so we've talked we talked about this before. The number one thing is getting the length up through the spine. And the only way to do that when you're sitting is if you first start by sitting on the bones underneath your butt, like underneath the padding of your butt. And we'll call them the sit bones. They're called the ischial tuberosity. We're calling them the sit bones. So come and stand up again.
Yeah.
Okay, so when Steph sits down now, we're going to make sure she's on those bones. So come and have a seat. Yep, and I'm just going to make sure yes. So she's right on the bottom of the sit bones. And when you're on the bottom of the sit bones, you can lengthen up through the spine. You can find that length. Now, what I want to point out is round, like you said that you kind of do at work a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like pretend you have the seat behind you.
Yeah, I would sit like this.
Okay.
Sort of.
So if Steph is sitting like this, pretend you're typing. Okay. So what's happening now is her lower back is rounding. She's leaning back, so she's not on the sit bones. She's rolled behind them. And then what's doing most of the work here is the neck and shoulders, which is the part that you said you felt the tension in.
Yes.
So put your arms up again, and let's see if you guys can notice that it's coming more from here. Maybe you won't notice it, but I think you'll notice it once we change it. So let's get you back up onto your sit bones. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now when she's sitting right on the bones, her spine can lengthen up. It can't lengthen up when you're back. So roll back for a second. Yeah, even if she tried to lengthen up, so try to lengthen up when your hips are back here.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't work because your spine is not meant to be that way. The landing part of your spine when you're sitting is the bottom of the spine, the sit bones. So if she is on her bones, then she has a chance to lengthen up. It doesn't mean somebody always will, but you can. You just can't do it when you're rolled back. So a common question I get now from people is, I can't sit like this for 8 hours. What am I supposed to do? That's always there. So we're going to get there. We're going to talk about options for when you're at work. Another thing is you probably don't have the strength to sit like this, I would imagine, because I'm guessing she feels some new muscles working. So you tell me, what do you feel working?
Yeah, right here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those are the muscles that will be working when you're sitting and standing with length. If you have not been sitting and standing with the length of your spine, this will feel new. This will feel like it's working, and it is. So that's an example of how I work with somebody in person. And again, it's just maybe 5 minutes, but I wanted you to see how she's in that pattern of maybe slouching a bit, and then we get her to lengthen up. Her pattern wasn't too terrible. She's, in her 30s. It's obviously different if you're going into your 60s and 70s, but I just wanted you to see how we could work with that in person, regardless of where you are, your age, how long you've had your patterns. This work absolutely will help you shift that. The people I work with generally are a bit older. So don't look at her if you're 70 years old and say, but she's 35. Sure, we can do that easily. Anybody can do this. So now that we have that foundation of what we're going after, what we're looking for a little bit, in the next chapter, I'm going to teach you exactly how you can do this for yourself.